Welcome back. So this is let's say a sequel to the 5 method finishing the outside of the bowl before sanding video. Now I'm going to show you how to scrape bottom third of the bowl, which in most cases I do. If I can't get all the way with the gouge to the bottom. Thing in common for all turners that use gouges to turn the inside, not negative rake scrapers, but the carbide scrapers. So all of the guys who or girls that use gouges, we all use the same technique, and that's the push cut down to the bottom of the bowl or third, wherever you are comfortable with stopping, and some of the turners finish the bottom with the bottom bowl gouge, which is more a traditional grind or scraper. Start turning. Now there's a tiny little split I had up on the rim, so I want to remove that just a bit more. Like that. Just want to check it, since this isn't like just demo piece, this will be actually client's bowl. So it was somewhere around here. I didn't mark it, but I believe it's gone. Yes. So bowl gouge starts level, handle is level, close the flute, enter slightly in. As I have the bevel riding, I can open it up and drop the handle a bit. Now, even with this smaller gouge, I can go probably all the way to the bottom. That's not the point of the video. But no tear out, any of, at least what I can see, especially in the troubled area, which is this spot here. Maybe it's a little bit rougher, maybe you can hear here, unlike here. But that is not a big tear out or anything like that, and we can deal with that. So I want to reduce the bowl thickness. Stop here. I don't want to hit with all of this small gouge right wing, all of this end grain stuff here. So now that's pretty clean cut. I mean, that's, we can start with 180 probably and be done. Now I'll talk a little bit more about sanding as well. Now I want to get a finishing cut. I'll grab a larger bowl gouge. Okay, so I put the fresh edge on. Let's go one more time. Okay. Let's see the surface first. There's a vibration mark here. Can you see the wave here? The rim is excellent. I want to get rid of the this wave here. But probably I should talk a little bit more about scrapers now. So how to avoid catches with the standard scraper, and how to actually in the right way present it to the wood. Now the most important thing is, I'll try to explain it here on this contraption. This is a sander, which I have it on on the chuck ring, faceplate ring, whatever it's called. So the most important thing is to have it less than a 90 degree. Now what that means, if I, let's say, raise the tool rest when I'm working on a ball like this, these blue lines represent the grain as it runs on the ball. If I have it tilted the rest too high on the ball, and I present the scraper flat on the tool rest inside, on the outside of the ball. Now this surface here, the flat top part of the scraper, and this surface as I'm cutting it here. Now this, you might not be able to pick it up on the camera, but it's somewhere like this. So this will be the flat of the scraper top, and this is the point of contact on the ball. So right here, as you can see, this angle here is more than a 90 degrees. So if this is 0, this is 90, will be somewhere around here. Okay, we want to be here, anywhere less than a 90 degree. Here the top of the tool and the grain actually aligned. So if I extend like this, at one point the scraper edge and the grain of the wood will align, and that's where in that case the ball will blow up. Now if I drop the tool rest, now in this case it's exaggerated, it's never this kind of low, but just want to show you. Now if I present the tool, now the correct way to present the scraper is actually to lift the handle up. Now always go with that approach. That's your safety option. Always go with that approach. There are some exceptions where you can drop the handle, but let's not talk about that now. We can talk about that maybe later. That's more advanced stuff. But for outside and the inside of the bowl, 99% raise the handle, so the edge actually is lower than the top of the handle. So more exaggerated position will be like this. Okay, so that will be flat. You raise the handle and drop the edge. Most important thing on the using a scraper on the bowl is to have the top of the scraper surface line and this area here on the bowl to be less than the 90 degrees. So I drop the rest so it's a little bit lower than a center of the bowl, which is on this case somewhere around here on this melamine board, and you raise a handle so it drops the edge. Now you don't have to exaggerate like this, but if you raise the handle, now as the wood goes by over the edge, you won't be able to catch the line grain here, because you're only using the burr. Okay, if you drop the handle and you present this, all of the bevel and the edge into the upcoming end grain here, where it aligns, it will dig in and split it. So that's the important thing. As we raise the handle, we actually just scraping with the burr. That's the important thing. And this surface here now is less than a 90. If I extend that here, so that would be, I should grab a marker like that, so that's the line extended from the scraper top edge. And this here, if I copy here, okay, this is now less than a 90 degrees, and you are in a safe zone, especially on the inside of the bowl. Okay, so that's the safety aspect of the using a scraper inside of the bowl. As I'm going across the bottom here, always, like I said, have a handle slightly lower. Now if I raise a handle, but if I raise the handle, can you maybe see where this is the center here, where I'm way below down, and if I want to go through the center, I'm actually now pointing the edge more in the upcoming grain. Okay, so I have to raise the tool rest, especially here on the bottom part. Now as I'm raising the handle, I'm now at the center. Okay, and if I want to go through the center and get rid of that knob, I just go slightly lower than the center and scrape the knob from the center of the bowl and go to the left. But always have that negative angle less than 90 degrees, so you're in a safe zone. Now I'm going to scrape this away. Now this scraper is a little bit thinner than I would normally use on this part, but it's the curve that matches this profile, so I'm going to use it. And there is a wave line here, okay, which I want to get rid of as well. But first let's work on this. Okay, so I raise the tool rest. As I'm raising the handle of the scraper, the edge drops and I'm now at the center and I'm in a safe zone. Now I can remove this. Now you can see here why I don't use this more of a shear scraper for this, because it wants to vibrate, because it's a little bit thinner than you should, especially for the bottom of the bowls. It will be good if it's like 8 mil or 10 mil, 3/8 of an inch thick. Now that will be ideal. I'll just go less. What usually happens is this knob in the middle, which is this part here, that to get rid of that you have to raise the handle even more, so the edge drops below the center and you come from underneath and to the left. Okay, now I want to a little bit more blend these two surfaces. Again, if I drop the tool rest way down and present the handle or the edge upwards into the grain, now this thing will blow up instantly. Okay, or it will dig in and try to go up and it will tear out of my handle and smack me in the nose, or nothing good can happen. So always have it, the edge has to be down or the handle up, and this surface here, top of the scraper, and this area here on the bowl is less than 90 degrees. That's the important thing. Now again, with the standard scraper, light touch is everything. Okay. So you can see the surface a little bit better. Okay. So that's nice and clean, and that does flow nicely here. Now I could use something like a bottom bowl gouge to finish this, or in most cases when I'm doing like this set, or I want to do it fast, if I can, on this case I could go with the bowl gouge all the way to the middle. But I want to show you, if the bowl is smaller, then I use a scraper to blend the bottom and the side. Okay, so now I want to get rid of this. Maybe it shows here a bit better. This vibration mark. Now, usually I put my hand behind the bowl here and use the bowl gouge and go around that surface lightly, and I take care of that. But this time I'm going to leave it and smooth it up with a scraper. Most guys grab a bowl gouge, the bigger the better, I guess, and try to scrape this inside surface. Now, I would never advise you to use a bowl gouge as a scraper on the inside of the bowl. You can't drop the handle low enough, you can't raise the tool raised high enough. There's all sort of problems, and you're inviting a big catch, especially if the bowl is thin enough. Now if you get this side grain here, now the grain is running up and down as the tree grows. If you get this side grain here done, it will go here when the grain is here, and you present the edge like a scraper on the outside as I showed you, and the two things align, you and the bowl is thin enough, you will get this left wing as a whole of the edge try to grab and feed itself into the end grain, and it will blow up as an axe, split the bowl apart, and while it's rotating 1000 rpm it will shatter, and yeah, all of the mess. So don't use a bowl gouge as a scraper on the inside. If you have a thickness enough, go with one more push cut, go through all of what you want to get rid of. Now this one is asymmetric curve thing. I use this a lot on the brandy cups you saw me make. I make a lot of those, and that's the only scraper thick enough I have to, and big enough to go inside the hole of the cup, and I use that edge to smooth it up and get a nice flowing curve almost in just a few seconds. Now here I don't want to use it flat. When I say flat, I mean flat on the tool rest, not the flat as the level. So you always use scraper with the handle slightly up, so there is negative 90 degrees between these two surfaces. Okay, I want to get it up on edge, so this has also rounded edge here. Tilt it up on edge. Now it's far more or less edge in contact, and now I can shear scrape this part here. Now many can use a negative rake scraper if they have a curve that fits and matches what they want to make. Just don't use like a really don't have it like a really narrow scraper and with the bullnose profile, and try to, like on a big bowl, match the surface. You're just going to get striations or grooves. So the best match curve, like this shear scraper, if it's only thicker, it matches almost perfectly to this. A little bit less, obviously. You don't want all of the 1-inch surface on the wood in contact. That can also split the bowl because you're being too aggressive. but it's close, so I can blend the surface better. Now on this occasion, I want to, maybe you can hear, here it's smooth, here it's not. I'm getting that vibration mark. So tilt it up on edge, and I want just light scrape. Let's see what's going on. A little bit more. Now usually, like I said, now this maybe shows a little bit better. I'm getting the high points a little bit down, still a little bit more to go. Like I said, this I have enough thickness to go one more time with the ball gouge and get rid of all of that and just go straight away with sanding. Now I want to show you how to get rid of these. So again, tilt it up on edge or use a negative rake scraper. I just said, like I said, I have more purpose for a standard scraper than a negative one, but it doesn't mean that one option is right or the other one is wrong. So I'm again getting fine dust, and you're not taking all much wood. I'm almost here. I can feel it. I'm having my left hand behind the bowl, behind the cut. Okay, that's pretty much done. Maybe a bit more on this transition here. Okay, so that's now pretty much sandable without any problem whatsoever. Now, to sum things up with the scraper, few important things. Always have the scraper angle between the top of the scraper and the wood you're scraping less than a 90. If this is flat, this is now 90. If I drop the handle, now I'm inviting big catch, because this surface, top of the scraper and the wood I'm scraping is far more than a 90 degrees. If I raise the handle, that drops the edge. Now this surface, top of the scraper and the wood I'm scraping is less than a 90 degrees. You always want to be less than a 90 degrees. If you have to do some work on the rim of the bowl, tilt the standard scraper up on edge. Understand please that if you raise all of the bevel into upcoming grain here on this portion, on this top portion here, if you invite it like this, it will most guarantee get a huge catch. It will start to dig in, act like an axe, and you'll get a blowout. So use scrapers with cautions. Try it out. Just show you how I would sand this. Now I usually always start on the inside of the bowl with 120. On the outside I usually always start with 180. So that's my theory behind it. I always go with 120 just to use a little bit more of the shaping properties of 120 grit, and I will get a really smooth surface, which is just perfect to touch and to feel it. Okay, so let's go with the sanding. I drop the speed. Before I finish the inside, I like to use a little bit of water on paper towel and just get the surface wet. That raise the grain. And I used heavily used lathe grit, which is 320, to buff the surface. Now after you wet the surface, you can see one more time before oil or before polishing with heavily used lathe grit. You can see if you have any imperfections. The raised grain will raise all of the fibers, and maybe you missed a spot or something. You can usually see it a little bit more clear. So just polish this up. So the speed a little bit more, now it's 700. And I just want to cut the raised grain. And you can use it by hand. You know, this paper is really worn out, so, and that's nice and clean. Everything is nice and clean. That's ready for oil. I'll just finish the outside, remove the tenon. This bowl won't have a foot, so that's it. Just follow simple rules. Have the less than a 90-degree approach with the standard scraper versus the wood you're scraping. Always be aware of that. With the negative degree scraper we have a little bit more buffer room to play with, and just use common sense, you know. So that's it.